Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you guys how to cook a whole chicken. I know I used to be intimidated by this, but it's so easy once you learn what to do. And I'm going to make it a blackened style chicken. So I'm gonna, or you can say Cajun. Cajun tends to be a little bit more spicy. We're going to do a blackened seasoning. It's going to get nice and crusty on the outside and juicy on the inside. And one of the things that makes it easy to cook this chicken is I'm going to flatten it. So I'm going to be removing the backbone and spreading it flat, and that way it cooks evenly. Another way of saying flattened chicken is spatchcock chicken, which is quite a mouthful for me. I prefer to say flattened chicken, it's so much easier. So that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be flattening this chicken, putting our herb and spice mixture on it, rubbing it all over with a healthy dose of butter and olive oil, and we're going to put it in the oven and it's going to be delicious. Step one is to make our rub, which consists of thyme. I have some chili, onion powder, garlic powder, some oregano and paprika, and then salt and pepper. We're gonna put a generous teaspoon of thyme, a generous teaspoon of oregano, a teaspoon of chili, a teaspoon of paprika, and then a generous amount of salt and pepper. You then want to give everything a good mix. Forgot the garlic powder and the onion powder, so we're going to do a tablespoon of each. So a tablespoon of garlic powder and a tablespoon of onion powder. And then get everything a good mix again. At this point I'm going to add the butter. I have about half a stick here, which is about 4 tablespoons of butter. I know it's a lot, but you're gonna try and cover a whole chicken, so you want it to have that moisture and that fat that'll make it crisp up and be nice and juicy. And then we're also gonna mix it with 2 to 3 tablespoons of olive oil. Two, 3, 4. Why not? And so what I like about this recipe, the measurements of the spices and the herbs are kind of loose, so you can kind of put a little bit more of this, a little bit more of that, a little less of that, and so it turns out okay. It's pretty forgiving. We're just going to mix everything now, and it's going to create a nice paste that we're going to rub onto our chicken. I'm not sure if I mentioned that the butter is softened, so you just want to make sure it's room temp and it's softened and it's easy to incorporate with all your herbs and spices. This is what your chicken's going to look like. It's a whole chicken. You're gonna want to turn it around, flip it around, and find the spine of it. So all across here, this is the spine, and we're gonna want to cut on either side, and that'll enable us to flatten out the chicken. You just need a sharp knife, and you're gonna go along the spine and cut through the flesh. See that? And then cut through the little bones that make up the rib cage. So essentially where the rib cage meets the spine, we're just gonna cut across down, and then obviously the sharper the knife, the easier this will be. Just takes a little bit of patience and keep feeling and seeing where you can cut. Make sure your fingers are out of the way. You don't want any accidents. Just need a little bit of force. And then we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. So this is the tail, and so we're just gonna go down the spine. This is what your chicken looks like. You've removed the spine, and You can flip the thighs over and then so they lay nice and flat that way. And this is the spine that we've removed here. Don't throw away the spine. It'll be amazing to make a bone broth with. So what I do is usually I'll keep the bones afterwards of the chicken and put it in the freezer until I have enough bags full, like a Ziploc bag is full of chicken bones, and then I'll put them in the crock pot to make some bone broth, which is delicious. So don't throw away the spine. It's very valuable and you can use it. And so next step is we're gonna take the paste that we made and we're gonna rub it all over the chicken. And we're gonna get underneath the skin, over the skin, every single crevice. This is what's gonna give it flavor. And so don't be afraid to get under the skin and slowly lift the skin with your fingers, because if you're just putting it on top, then all the flavor will be concentrated on the skin and the flesh won't have any of that delicious buttery paprika, oregano, blackened flavor. So make sure you do that. Just be gentle with it, go slow, and it's gonna work out great. You just wanna find where the skin starts and lift it slowly and separate it. I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. Just gently, slowly lift it and separate it. I know this part might seem gross, but it's kind of necessary if you want to get all that flavoring everywhere. So don't be afraid to get your hands dirty and make sure you cover every square inch of the bird. And you can do the same with the thighs. You can get under the skin and make sure that flavor gets under there as well. And make sure you got the chicken completely covered, and then flip it around and do the same thing on the other side as well. This is where the flavor is going to come in for your chicken. If you see the rib bones here, you can just remove those as well so they're not poking away at you. So we've flattened our chicken, we've marinated it with our rub, and then you want to grab a cookie sheet with some parchment paper on it. Just to catch all the drippings as your chicken is cooking, and it's easier to clean up. And then you're gonna have like a roasting rack. And the reason we're doing this is so the underside gets crispy as well, and it doesn't get soggy from underneath as it's baking. So I'm gonna put this on top of here, and then I'm gonna put it in the oven. I've been preheating it at 450 degrees Fahrenheit. And we're gonna cook it for an hour at least, maybe more. Check on it. You want the internal temperature to be 165 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about 74 degrees Celsius. So I'm gonna put that on there, and then I'll put it in the oven. And so this is your blackened, flattened chicken, or spatchcock. Spatchcock chicken, I can never say that word. Anyways, so it's done. I baked it for just under an hour. The spices got nice and black and darkened, and the skin is crispy, and the internal temperature is at 165 degrees Fahrenheit. And there's some delicious drippings at the bottom that we can pour over the chicken after we've cut it. I do recommend waiting to cut it. Don't cut into it just yet. I would even put like a large bowl over this and let it sit for about 10 minutes, 10-15 minutes, and that way the juices will really get sealed in. And if you cut it into it right away, all those juices will be released and you'll be left with a dried chicken. So just be patient, cover your bowl, finish the rest of your sides, make your salad, and then you'll be ready to go. I really hope you give this recipe a try. If you liked it, please give it a like. I would love for you guys to subscribe and join our little community, and I'll see you guys next Friday.